You are listening to Balloon Killers. I'm your host, Chrissy Riley, and each episode I'll be talking to someone from the world of cowboy mounted shooting, which is one of the most exciting and fastest growing equestrian sports. Hold on to your hats because it's going to get Western. What's up, shooters? Can you believe this is the 40th episode of the Balloon Killers podcast? I certainly never imagined when I started recording this podcast back in, I think it was June of last year, that I would make it to 40 episodes. So thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for suggesting Balloon Killers that I should interview. I do this for you and I couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. I'm just a couple of days home from Worlds, and if you don't follow me on Facebook and didn't see my update, my highlight of the week was that I made it to the A division of the Eliminator Finals in the Thursday night showcase. It was my first time ever competing in a showcase, so I was very excited and also very, very nervous. It definitely wasn't speed that got me to the Eliminator Finals because I had the slowest raw time on both the first and the second rounds of the Eliminator, but I was clean when a lot of the other girls who were faster had some misses. So I didn't expect too much from the final, but I was really proud of myself because I picked my line ahead of time and I stuck to it. I was committed to it, even though none of the girls that went before me picked that same line. And you know what it's like when you're sitting in the loading zone and you're watching everybody else run and you're thinking, why is nobody else doing my line? What's wrong with my line? But I stuck to it regardless, and I'm really proud of myself for that. I missed the first balloon because I was too wide, but generally I was really happy with the run and I ended up coming in 8th. So that wasn't too shabby. My main match was quite the contrast. It was mostly a dumpster fire. I had 30 seconds in penalties after the first day because I took some risks that didn't pay off, mostly. I tried to get a 2-fer and ended up getting a procedural instead. But all in all, it was a great week with a good horse and good people, and Mr. Bear continues to progress and make me proud. My guest for my 40th episode celebrated her 74th win as a level 6 right before Worlds. She was the 2025 AAA Ladies Worlds Eliminator Champion, and she took home the overall reserve cowgirl at Worlds this year in an incredibly close race. Kenda Lenseigne joined me in the party bus in Amarillo, Texas. Heads up, because this one is video and audio. Hi Kenda.
Hello.
It's so good to finally catch up with you. I know we've been trying to catch up over the past few shoots and you're a very busy lady.
I think you are too.
I would really love to hear the story of how you got into mounted shooting. Now I know you've probably told this 100 times and 100 different ways, but tell us, how did you get into mounted shooting?
Well, it was 1998, if you can believe that. Back in the 1900s is when I started mounted shooting. It was the sport was pretty new at the time, and I was living in Southern California. I was exercising horses for a friend who said, "Hey, you should come see this new sport." They were doing a demonstration out in San Bernardino, so I went to watch, and I got roped into trying it at that demo during this, in front of a big, huge crowd of people. And I've been riding my whole life, but never shot a gun. Mm-hmm. So I had to get a little tutorial on how to hold the firearm and actually work the hammer and the trigger and, switch guns and like everything that everybody that first gets into the sport has to learn how to do. Mm-hmm. Except for I was in front of a huge audience of people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it was okay. I was just brave and whatever. I felt comfortable on the horse, so it didn't matter. And after I tried it, of course, just like all of us, I got hooked right away. Mm-hmm. And I said, sign me up. I want to go do this. And that was the beginning of the end. And here we are now, all these years later.
And what did CMSA, was there even a CMSA then? And if there was, what did it look like at that point?
CMSA had already been established for a few years by then, and it was young, a very young sport still. But I was part of the California Desperados, which was one of the largest clubs in the U.S. because it really hadn't traveled, the sport hadn't really traveled much further out of the southwestern area. And so it was the biggest club in the U.S. at the time. So it looked way different than it does now. I mean, there was a lot of learning to do and growing for the sport. It was very wild. It was very Wild West. There were sometimes there were fist fights. The range master call wasn't quite right. It was definitely Wild West. And there was people that were just pulling horses out of the pasture and saying, hey, I've got my grandpa's Colt 45 and I've got old Joe in the pasture. Let's put the two together. So at the time, there wasn't really any trainers or horses that were nurtured just for this sport. Everybody was kind of figuring it out as we go, myself included.
Yeah.
I was riding a borrowed horse with borrowed tack for a while until I managed to pull together all the things on my own. But it was definitely different than it looks now. And I feel really fortunate to have been there during the beginning time of the sport to see how far it's evolved and how far it's come. And here we are now. It's a professional sport recognized by AQHA. We're here in Amarillo. I mean, it's come so far, and I feel really fortunate to have seen it grow in such a way where it is now, where people doing this for a living now. Where back in the 1900s, nobody would. I mean, it would have been such a dream to think that a lot of us could do this for a living.
And you clearly love the sport because you've been in it for a really long time now. So what is it that you love about the sport?
I just love I think number one, I love that it's a timed event. That's my number one go-to. I've been involved in other disciplines in my life as far as different equestrian sports, and this one keeps me coming back time after time because I feel like it starts over every time. You can be an expert and then you can have a bad stage, or you can have to start a new horse, or you have something happen in your life where you feel like, okay, now I have to be okay being on the last page of the standings again. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people, myself included, coming back, is there's just that strive for more and strive for perfection, because I hold myself to standards like that. It doesn't, I don't always accomplish it every time, but I think that's what keeps me coming back.
Yeah. And you've started a few clubs. I believe you started out up north. Is that right? I heard that on a podcast recently that you started out up north.
I did. So after I left California, I moved back to Washington, which is where I'm from. And they didn't have mounted shooting there, really. And so I thought, well, I'll just bring the sport with me. I don't want to give up because I love it so much. So I managed to pull together a few people from the northwestern area. There was, I think, a guy in like Spokane, Washington, and somebody in Oregon that I'd heard was doing the sport, a couple girls from Hermiston, Oregon. And I made a call, and my mom had a friend who was putting on a bull riders challenge, and I asked her to give me 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes during a halftime show to see if they would let us do a little demonstration. Sure enough, she did, and then it caught on like wildfire after that.
So all through your career, you've met lots of different people. You've ridden lots of different horses. Who or what would you attribute to your success in the sport?
I think that's probably a multifaceted answer. If we could go all the way back to the 90s and say like who actually nurtured my love for the sport to help me get started, and that would have been Joe Whiteley. He's still involved. He's not shooting anymore, but he really kind of took me under his wing. He was the president of the California Desperados at the time, and he showed me the ropes, and kind of, I was in my 20s, so he was really instrumental in helping me move forward. And then from there, just there are so many people and horses along the way that have impacted my life as far as lending helping hands or getting advice from, or it's something as simple as last weekend, blowing tires on my trailer, and there's a handful of men out here that say, hey, I'll help you. So there's a lot of that, just fellowship and community within our sport that is is I think prevalent to all of us as shooters. It's not just me. I think everybody else has the same story.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's one of the things that I hear most on this podcast is that the people, the community, the support are one of the things that keep people coming back over and over.
Exactly. I mean, whether it's a lame horse, here you go, ride mine.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen anywhere else.
Take my guns.
Take my guns, take my best horse, and do well.
Yeah, exactly. You've traveled all over the country doing this, actually all over the world. I believe you are the CMSA International Liaison, is that correct?
It is.
What does that entail?
Basically, I think where that started was that I was contracted to go to France and ride at the Equiblues Festival and Rodeo, which is Europe's largest rodeo. And that was in 2011, I believe, and I've been going almost every year. And it's just basically doing a demonstration there, but being an ambassador for the U.S. and for the sport, and trying to promote all the things that we love in that life, our lifestyle to that lifestyle. I think just being that person that has that experience worldwide, and to have seen what it's like in Europe, to say like they're the same as us. The sights are the same, the barn smells the same. The only difference is it sounds the same, or it sounds different with the language, but it's all the same. It's horse people or horse people.
What are some of the boundaries? Obviously, France, they love you in France because you keep going back. But what are some of the boundaries to them starting clubs in Europe and other places?
I think not just France specifically, but most of Europe. I think the one limitation is the acquisition of firearms for civilians. It's not easy, and the people that do have them, they have to go through years of paperwork. It's a lot of jumping through hoops just to be able to own and possess a single action revolver. They can get away with black powder revolvers and cap and ball, things like that, but it's so limiting that I think it dissuades people from continuing to pursue the sport.
Yeah, it's hard to get a large enough number of people into it to make it a sport, to make it competitive.
Exactly.
I know in the UK we can't even have handguns. We can only have certain hunting guns, and then we have to have police come and take a look at where we're storing those guns.
Yes, same in France and all of Europe. The first year I went to France, I had to obviously get special permits to have my revolvers imported, and then I had to have a police escort, a gendarme with me the whole time. Every time I would have the gun in my hand or unlock it from the case to go present my demonstration, he would be right there with me, and then I'd have to hand them right off, and he would store them until my next performance.
It's such a shame because I would love to see it be a worldwide sport. I'd love to see Worlds be a worldwide sport. Yeah.
It's just us and the Canadians.
I know. So you have traveled around a lot. Are there any particular shoots in this country or Canada that you really love that you don't like to miss?
If you would have asked me that a few years ago, I would have said hands down it would have been Tunica, Mississippi. That's where the national championship used to be held, and I wouldn't miss it. I loved that venue. It was just such a great shoot to attend. And since it's now moved to Shelbyville, I think right now probably one that I do really enjoy is Vegas, the Western Championship. I mean, first of all, it's only a 4.5 hour drive for me versus a 4-day drive.
Yeah.
But, it's all under one roof, and there's a lot of other things to do. My family can fly in, and there's a lot of fun that's to be had at that event. The ground's great. The shoot always runs without a hitch. The CMSA does a great job there, and I think that's a fun one to go to.
I agree. I loved it. This year was my very first year in Vegas, and I really did love it. I was a little intimidated by it, the idea of riding at the South Point, the idea of such a big arena and so many people. I'd never been to a shoot with that many people before.
I know.
But it did run so smoothly. It ran like clockwork. CMSA's obviously been doing it at the South Point for a while now, and everything was just really well organized, and I was very impressed.
I am too. I also appreciate that they have the live feed in the room.
Yes.
So you're not panicking, and you know exactly when you ride, and you don't have to wonder you can watch it on the TV, and then there's great restaurants and all the fun stuff as well.
Yeah, it really is great for the family. I know I tried to get my family to come out from the UK this year. They couldn't make it, but next year hopefully I can get them to come, because it's a cool place to have a holiday as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a destination.
Yeah. How about your favorite shooting pattern? This is a question that I ask all of the people that come on the podcast. Do you have a favorite? You must have run all of them many, many times now.
I wish I could tell you the number, and I was going to look it up before this interview, but I don't remember the number of it. But I love it so much. It's just one of those that when I see it pulled, I know, I just feel confident with it. Mm-hmm. It's got a gate, a middle balloon, and a gate, and I just love like the nuances of it, as far as being able to run through those gates on a free bridle and not have to worry about wondering if the shots are going to be hit or not. So, I mean, nailing those lines definitely are important. And since I don't know the number of that one, I'll tell you my second favorite, and that is number 22, which is, it's got a one balloon and then two gates as well. And that one, I think you can really step ahead of your competition based on your line going in and out of the gates.
I think this really shows the difference between myself as a relatively new shooter and you as, the most experienced female shooter that we have shooting right now, in that I would never choose a gate as my favorite pattern. And you chose two.
I know.
Both with gates.
And I'll go back to what you asked earlier, which is, who mentored me in the beginning of the sport, and it was Joe Whiteley, and I was terrified of gates. They just weren't my thing, and I would do the same thing every time I would look at a gate pattern. I'd start to have this, like, oh, can I do it? Can I just circle it? I don't want to go through it. And so he was really instrumental in setting up only gates for me to ride. And pretty soon that weakness turned into one of my strengths. And I think that goes for any advice I could give anybody moving forward, is wherever you have that like hole in your heart of a little bit of fear or anxiety or questioning your ability, that's where, like, okay, well, that's your homework then.
Yeah, that's where you need to put in the work, most definitely. How about your guns? What guns do you shoot and why?
I shoot the Uberti short stroke KL Pro revolver. It's got a 3.5-inch barrel, which I highly recommend for not just the women in our sport, but pretty much everyone. I love the gun changes, are fast. There's a few that are still shooting those 4.5-inch barrels, many, but I really like the short barrel. I feel like it's really balanced in my hand. So when I extend my arm, there's no front weight to it. And again, the gun change, I feel like, is a little bit quicker because it's less coming out and going into the holster. And it has a short stroke on it, which is several years ago I flew to Italy and worked with Uberti to help design that hammer and that gun for them.
That must have been so fun.
It was, I mean, talk about like pinch me moments in my career of being able to kind of blaze a path for the future of our sport. And not that I'm the only one that's doing that, but it was neat to have that experience.
Most definitely nerding out. Totally nerding out. And everyone loves your holsters. And I think you've got some new holsters coming out. Is there anything you want to say about that?
Thanks. Yeah. Well, the holsters were the same. I'd been shooting just random holsters forever. And then I was like, oh, I wish I could change this. And I wish I could change that. And I may have that kind of nerd mind too when it comes to how I could try to make things better. Just for myself. And so I managed to get signed on with Safariland, which is a big holster manufacturing company. They do mostly police and military holsters, and they took interest in the sport, and they said, hey, would you want to design a line of mounted shooting rigs under one of our Bianchi Cowboy brand, which is one of their subsidiary companies. Of course, I'm said to say yes. So they kind of like just pitched the reins to me and let me just design something, and they've been extremely popular. That's all I use, obviously, for the last, I think I signed on with them in 2009, and it's made such a big difference. Just the fit, the feel, the little tiny design features of the holsters. But then in 2020, of course, during the COVID era, they shut down the line completely and made some changes in management and budget cuts. So they completely shut down the line. So we were like scrambling to I tried to get as many made as I could before they completely shut it down. And that's where you see them pop up randomly on Facebook.
And they're gone. They are gone within minutes. I know, I've seen them so many times, and then I see sold.
I know. And for the last several years, I've searched to find a new manufacturer that could do an equal quality job. And I've had a couple that they just weren't quite up to par. And then I found one this past spring that is now, they sent me a sample, and they're spot on. They're exactly the same as they were before. So I just put in a huge order. Woo-hoo. And they're actually, unfortunately for us here in Amarillo, they shipped the day that I left. And I didn't know that they had shipped. Otherwise I would have had them sent here, but they're sitting on my porch at home right now, waiting to be released.
Watch this space with great excitement.
Yes.
Well, you've had a lot of wins. I know that when you were in Arizona, you celebrated 70 wins. Which one is your favorite of all of the wins?
For the longest time, there was no 6 class. And then once they opened up, 5 was the highest you could go. And then I don't remember the year. It might have been in like 2007 or 8 is when they said, okay, CMSA is growing big enough, the classes are getting big enough, now we're going to start a 6 class. So then it was like everybody's rushing to become a 6. So since then, yes, I did celebrate win number 70 as a 6 in Arizona this past winter, but then I just won the overall at the Lone Star Classic, and they announced that it was win number 74.
Oh wow!
Which I guess it's just fun to it's noteworthy. I think it's fun to kind of count those, even though can't go any higher than that right now. But I guess my favorite, there's a couple favorites as since I've been a 6, and the first one, of course, is in 2009 when I was riding my horse Lieutenant Justin, and it was at this very arena where we took the high overall, first and only time a woman's ever done it at the World. And so that one obviously is monumental, and it was just such an experience that was a lot of years of blood, sweat, and tears, and to kind of like put that stake in the ground for not just myself and my career, but for all the women and all the cowgirls, and like, we can do this. It's not just a male dominated sport anymore. Like, we're here. Watch us. And then after that, probably the next one was with my horse Sparky. When it was after Justin retired, then I started on a different horse, Sparky, and so that I've won the World twice on her. And then now I'm riding the horse Charles, who's owned by Brandreth Farms of Georgia, and he's just such a great partner for me. It was like a match made in heaven when John called and said, "Hey, I want you to ride my horse. Will you please?" And I said, "Okay, sure. Let's see if we get along, because I don't think that it's just a machine. These horses are just machines. Like, that's a partner to me, and I want absolute equal partnership. And if he's not loving it, then I'm not loving it." And so we met, and there was like hearts and stars in our eyes for each other from day one, and we've gotten along pretty well. So I think for that, one of those monumental wins was in 2021, was when I won the high overall at the World on him. So that was still the only woman. This weekend could change, but that was the second time in the sports history for a woman to take the high overall at the World. So
amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. Can't do it by myself. There's a lot of support behind me, and obviously with the horses that we ride, you can only do so much with what your partner in the horse.
And you've got a new little yellow one coming up, right?
She's so ridiculous. Yeah, that's Bam Bam. She's only 13 hands, and she's full of it, but she's one that I'll be nurturing. She's still pretty young, so we'll see how she turns out. I'm looking forward to this next season on her, to now that she's old enough to kind of put a little bit more pressure on her. I didn't want to do too much too soon, as just being a good horseman, to be really aware of not being greedy with how much I'm asking, because I want her for the long term.
Yeah. Speaking of your plans for her, how about your plans in general? I feel like you've been there, done that with this sport, but you've still got ambition in your heart. I see it in your eyes. What's next? What are you looking forward to? What are you planning for the future?
I think, I've contemplated that question a lot, because I do go through bouts of burnout quite a bit. And I think, okay, just another shoot, another day. But then I'm out here and my heart starts pounding, and I want to strive to do better and do well and continue on as long as I can. So I feel like I'm still happy doing what I'm doing. I mean, I've opened up different avenues of my livelihood, with product developments and nurturing sponsorships and clinics and lessons, and continuing my path that way, because this will end someday, and I know that it's just bound to happen for any athlete. But right now I'm just enjoying it while it's still here, and still doing the best I can until either my drive runs out, or my body gives out, or my horse gives out, or one of those things start to fade a little, and then we'll move on from there.
Well, thank you so much for spending my 40th episode of Balloon Killers with me. It was such an amazing pleasure to finally catch up with you and chat with you.
It's great to chat with you too, and thanks for having me on your big milestone.
Thank you. Thank you, Kenda, for celebrating my 40th episode with me, and congratulations on all of your achievements at Worlds this year. Kenda has a store with all kinds of mounted shooting goodies. You can find the link in the show notes. If you're looking for another mounted shooting podcast, check out the CMSA Showcase hosted by yours truly and Dee Chapman. It highlights the amazing CMSA events and the clubs that put them on. You can find it in most places that you get your podcasts. If there are balloon killers you would like to hear interviewed, please email me on balloonkillers@gmail.com. That's balloonkillers, all one word, @gmail.com.